Hi all, Tiffany and G here at Allura Gardens. We have jumped into the citrus section, and what's really funny is that I have citrus trees at home, and so I guess I'm going to give you my questions and then a few others. G, my citrus tree is constantly eaten by my lime, Tahitian lime, grasshoppers, whatever that gooey spirals are on the leaf,
Yes.
and then but it's still fruiting and flowering. So
That's it.
should I do anything or just leave it?
You know what? I think great question. I always say very good questions. Questions are valid. It's the answers that we should be shocked about, really. But you know what? I think that if you ever own a citrus or have things like citrus or even hibiscus for that matter, everything under the sun seems to want to come and eat it, not just humans. So I guess, we could say that lots of animals, as well as us, they love it. And so actually, I don't want anything to come to the top of the food chain and stay there for too long. So, if I see one caterpillar on one citrus tree, I'm not too worried. But if I see like 10 or more devouring a plant, I seem to get, busy and doing something, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, and so, and actually I always inspect these plants because they always have something on them. Should we go, you want to find some stuff and have a look?
Yeah.
See what we've got here?
All right.
Okay, let's have a little look. And look,
Oh, here we
something's had like a nibble here. I would say that's a chewing, sort of munching mandible type of insect. And
There's something else on the bottom of
Yes,
that
let's
leaf,
have a look at it.
G.
Let's inspect it. And actually, that is great. So we've found two things. Some sort of a caterpillar or a grasshopper has come and had a munch, and because that's the sort of tools that they use to munch and make that sort of damage with. And here, this is called a leaf miner, and actually,
Yeah, I've got that.
it's caused by it's like a minute fly that looks for things like citrus because it knows its babies love citrus plants, and so then it flies down there, lays its babies on there. So the second the babies hatch, they've got some nice meal to start eating. And actually, so these little minute caterpillars claw their way in between the membrane of the leaf, staying protected from things like birds and stuff. And then once they reach this sort of maturity, they turn into a fly just like mama and daddy, and then they fly off and then do the same sort of process again.
So they're not causing damage.
Well, the thing about this relationship here is that I find that it's the humans that are the new shocked ones onto this whole scene here. I find that this thing's been going on for years and years and years and years, and it's us scratching our heads going, how the hell does this happen? And actually we are the new things thrown into this mix, trying to maintain and control everything.
Yeah.
And I guess nothing.
We just want a quick fix always.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And we don't want to see the process of what's kind of going on. And
Yeah.
actually, I look at the span of a year and go, so what comes to pay us a visit then? And are there patterns here? And sometimes there are, and some patterns within maybe even a 5-year process I have seen become huge and really painful to kind of deal with. And other things seem to disappear for a while, So, but having things like citrus, I actually find that I would rather solve my problems in a non-chemical problem-solving fashion.
Definitely.
I would actually rather look at the plant and go, what do you need? And I look at the soils and go, you know what? It's actually been 2 months and I haven't put any food down at the bottom of this baby. I want my plant to regenerate fast. And plants are used to being damaged and attacked and, had things taken off their bark and all sorts of things. And they can't seem to fix these leaves, but they can always create more. And they can also build around old tissues. So feed them and then ask yourself, when's the last time I fed it? See, let's have a look at this leaf here. This is slightly...
Yeah, this I thought was, we need a feed.
We need a feed.
Yeah.
And it could be as dark as the other leaves that we were looking at. And then that blotchiness tells a simple sign of saying, I need lots of trace elements and...
Bit of nutrient deficiency.
That's it.
Yeah.
We have those sorts of products that one hand, sprinkle solves many problems.
I mean, we get like that.
Yes.
We get a bit of a sniffle nose and
That's
we think,
it.
have
Yes.
I had some vitamin C lately?
Exactly. And it's better to do that than to just go resorting
To just
to
go,
the Panadols.
oh, yes.
And so,
Yeah.
because that's the chemical solving of the headache, but you probably just need a good glass of water as well.
Correct, yeah.
So, yes.
All right, cool. So improving the health of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just monitor it. Obviously, if it's
That's
being
it.
totally wiped
That's
out,
it.
we need to look at it further.
Yes.
And what else do you think is another common pest or disease up here for citrus? I mean, you mentioned the leaf feeding guys like the grasshoppers, the caterpillars,
Yes.
and also the leaf miner.
Uh-huh.
Would you say, I'm trying to think of something else that's on my plant, but can you think of anything else that's really common up here?
So there's also things like the mealy bugs, which I
Oh,
find.
for sure. The
Yes.
white powdery thing,
Like,
is it?
actually, they're kind of minute, like microscopic insects that latch onto plants and they leave this sort of fairy, flossy, fluffy
right,
stuff
yeah.
on the outside. That's a sugar secretion that they can't consume. And actually, there's symbiotic relationships tied in with that. You might find ants walking up and down the plants, treating these little guys
yeah.
like cows, harvesting that sugar secretion. So it's kind of understanding those relationships. So mealybugs are sap suckers. I find
Yeah.
actually if you look at these minute insects, you can break them into two categories. They are chewing insects, ones that cause this sort of edible eaten
Yeah.
leaf damage, you know.
Just
And-
eating leaf.
Yes, just eaten leaf. And then also, you know, I guess we could say that also the leaf miner is most likely a membrane film eater. It's also a chewer, but a really microscopic one. But then there's also sap-sucking insects, and they go in the form of aphids. You know, I don't really see aphids on citruses as much as I see them on things like chilies, desert roses,
Yeah.
and other plants. But then the sap-sucking insects, mealybugs, and to add to that whole thing, I also say we might find, you know, with the lack of airflow hitting these plants, and it's good to always see that sort of airflow happening. When it doesn't happen, you also find things like a powdery mildew, a sort of soot with a black leaf happening down in areas where the sun cannot hit it, where it cannot dry out, where it stays wet for too long, and there's bad airflow. So that's more of a fungal related thing there. But actually, like I said, solving things like the maintenance of the health of the plant, it seems to counteract so many of those issues. But also, when it comes to citrus, make sure that you put them in a very full sunny spot. They like to be cast under full sun nearly all day long.
Yep.
And then also give them nutrients, I would say, on a span of going every 2 months. You know, if it's something organic, stinky, crappy, breaks down fast, you might do that every 4 weeks to 6 weeks. But then if it's something a bit more longer lasting, like an Osmocote perhaps, then you might do it maybe every 2 months, 2.5 months. They're fast demanding plants, so counteracting that will solve lots of problems. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And gee, you don't have your secateurs on you, do you?
I do.
Can we come over to this big guy and you just show me a little bit? I don't know how to prune without killing my plant.
That's all right. And some things need a bit of shaping after a while.
So this big guy, I just noticed him.
Yes,
I
and
might
actually-
get from the other side
Let's
because of the
see it
sun.
from this angle here.
But I noticed that he's sort of coming off the lattice, which is fine, doesn't matter.
Yep.
But would you trim him or would you leave him alone?
I think we probably could actually trim it, to be honest,
Yep.
because it's due for a good feed now. We could probably repot it. Maybe we could postpone it for another 6 months.
Yep.
But then we could also prune it. Would you want me to do a couple of bits?
If you could just show us,
on here?
do we just go from the top or?
Well, you know what? I think it's good to kind of follow the branching systems here. I don't mind this lovely V shape that's happening here,
Yep.
and I can probably compact it in there. But you know what? I might even bring it in a little bit further. The wind seems to blow things like this over, so this also kind of stops it from being a sailing boat, you know?
Yep.
And then now we might as well follow the same sort of pattern. This guy's a long, lanky guy here at the back here.
Yep.
And don't you worry, I find that every one stem that I chop off here, it'll generally result in 2 stems.
Yeah.
And I might be compromising a potential flower and a fruit that I'm receiving now at this point, but then I shall receive double
More
from
later.
the extra stems that I get afterwards. And actually, we can't expect them to give us something back by giving us more shoots back if we don't remember to feed them. So we got to kind of give to get,
Yep.
So, yes, yeah.
All right, beautiful. Yes, I always get criticised for hacking mine to death.
No, not really. Not really. These plants respond to lots of this stuff. I guess that's the nature of plants. Really, they're used to things coming to attack them, and I am one of them, isn't it? Yes.
And gee, I've just noticed here, is this the fungal you were talking about? This
Is it
black?
some fungal activity? It would be actually. That's like a rust that occurs there, and I would say that is due to a very heavy compaction within the soil.
Yep.
Because now the root percentage has now increased more
Yeah,
than the
he's
soil
pretty
percentage.
big for that pot.
Yeah, that's it. So now we can't breathe in between those roots. So yes, that's why I love those volcanic pieces. It always keeps
Helps,
the air inside there.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, G. If you need to know anything else about citrus, come in and see us. For everything flora and citrus, I'm trying to rhyme. Come and see us. Alora,
Thank you.
bye.
See ya.